Welcome back, friends. In this video tutorial, we'll be discussing the pathogenicity of Neisseria or gonococcus, right? So pathogenicity, let me write pathogenicity, pathogenicity of gonococcus bacteria. In case of the pathogenicity of gonococcus bacteria, as we all know that pathogenicity or virulence factors is not a single thing. It is a combinatory action of many different sequential events, and the events begin from the entry to the host cell. So let me write. So the event begin from the entry. Sorry, the entry of from the entry to the host cell, entry to host body. So let me write the sequential events. Entry to host body. This is the first event. Now the second event is adhesion. Remember, sorry, again, adhesion to the adhesion to the host cell, right? Adhesion to the host cell. After the adhesion, it's a propagation, and then after the propagation, it comes the destruction. Remember, we have seen all these things in throughout this course, right? Destruction, and after the destruction they will release and they will multiply and grow. So growing and growing, and during this whole pathogenic process they also need to evade the immunity, evade the host immunity. It is required, otherwise host immunity will block them to actually process all this all to actually continue this all processes, right? So immunity, so host immunity, you need to go against the host immunity also. Now in this case of the gonococcal infections, they start to make very clever and important modifications for these regions, like the addition to the host cell. They will modify very important, they are playing some important players which are important for the addition of their cell to the host cell, and also for the propagation part. And obviously they are entering to the host cell via the sexual transmission. So we know that this part is done via sexual transmission. So it's pretty obvious that they will transfer pretty fairly. So sexual transmission is one thing for the entry, and the rest of the part, adhesion, will be carried out by the pili protein. They are expressing the pili, and obviously for the propagation also they are having this pili, and also another protein which is called outer membrane protein, or OMP. So we'll be talking about it later, outer membrane protein. And from the destruction, for the destruction and the growth also, they are having this outer membrane protein as well as LPS, which is called the endotoxin. So let me write endotoxin. So here comes the important mediators for setting the disease by Neisseria gonorrhea or gonococcus. So you can see they are having this pili. So majorly three factors which are helping them to establish the disease. One is the pili, second one is the outer membrane protein for the propagation, third one is the endotoxin or LPS layer. Usually in this case it is called the OPS layer, or oligopolysaccharide layer, not the sorry, lipo-oligosaccharide layer. So LOS actually. It's called LOS, or lipo-oligosaccharide layer. Okay, for the destruction of the cell, and then they'll grow pretty rapidly. So these are the three important components. These are the three important components of the transfiction of the infection caused by the gonococcal bacteria. So let us talk about each of them. The first and the most important above all among all these three is pili. Is this pili? Now pili is the it's an extension, right? We know that it's an extension of cytoplasm. Extension of cytoplasm that we can find. Now this pili protein, pili, or extension of cytoplasm, it is made up with protein components, right? So it's a pure protein component. Okay, and it is made with many different and amino acids arrangement, right? Now the pili that we are going to find, this pili is also antigenic also. It's also antigenic. right? It's antigenic in nature, and this pili protein will help them to escape immunity. This is the first thing. And also this pili protein will help them to attach with the cell surface of the host, and as it is helping them to attach with the host cell, it can be internalized very fairly and pretty quickly, right? So these are the important steps. So the pili, so naturally the pili helps them to attach or adhere to the host cell, adhere adhere to the host cell, or to attach to the host cell. And second thing is to escape the immunity. It also helps them to escape immunity or host immunity, right? So these are the two important factors about the pili. And pili is made up with small protein components, and the protein components we are talking about, we call it as pillin. So they are called pillin proteins. So pillin proteins will be arranged one after another, and what will make, they will make the pili. And with the help of the pili, these gonococcus can attach themselves with the host cell, and then it will be internalized pretty quickly. So this is the basic case. But the important and the most astonishing way of the production of this pili protein is that all the gonococcus bacteria and all the time they won't express all pillin proteins. Instead, there are different pillin proteins encoding genes present inside, but those genes are not expressing. Those genes are kind of stagnant. They are not expressing in those conditions. So let me talk about the genetic arrangement a little bit. So if I draw the genetic arrangement here, what we can see in this genetic arrangement, say this is the gene. Now the gene is consisting of several different regions. The gene is having say so this is the total DNA content, and somewhere here is the gene A. So let me write. So here it is, say gene A. Here it is, say gene B. This one is B. And let's say, but this gene A and B is not having any kind of promoter upstream. We require the presence of promoter which helps them to initiate the transcription of the gene, right? So there is no promoter in this case. Instead, further downstream, so let me talk about further downstream. So if this is the case, so further downstream what we can find, there is a promoter. So there is a promoter here. So this is a promoter here, and in this promoter region, after the downstream of this promoter, what we are having, let's say we are having another we don't have anything. Let's say we have a blank other kind of gene. So we are having a gene C. Let's write it, the gene C here, right? So as now the gene C is directly placed after the promoter, gene C will be transcribed. So after this transcription, what we get is the product of gene C. So we get the product of gene C, but not the product of gene A and B. So suppose all these genes A, B, C, D, E, F, and all these genes are responsible for producing different types of protein, pillin proteins, right? And we know the combination of this protein will give rise to pili. Okay, now in kind some kind of infection, suppose in this case also only we can see the only expression of gene C. So we are getting only pillin protein C. So we are having protein C in this case. So pillin protein C, and this protein will construct the pili, and that pili will help them to attach and adhere, right? Now for example, say our host immune defense get this protein C, and it understands the protein C, that this protein C is from outsource, and they start to make antibodies against it. Usually they can make antibodies, and they can switch antibodies to specifically bind with this protein C and start to kill this bacteria via the complement activation pathway, right? But now it will be dangerous for this Neisseria to live inside the host. Now in those conditions, Neisseria switches the expression of the gene. Now it knows that if it is expressing gene C, it would be killed, right? So instead of expressing gene C, it start expressing some other kind of gene, which is A, B, and other kind of gene like that. Now how they can express? Due to a kind of recombination. Now let us imagine, due to a kind of recombination, so let's say again this is the gene, a kind of recombination, if this A will move to this place of C. Now A, B, and all these things, they are not having any promoter, but now if it is A, if A is placed just the position of C, and C is displaced, and now A will be in the direct position, direct beside the promoter, then the A will be transcribed, right? So this kind of modification, so let us talk about that. So A, due to any kind of recombination, internal recombination, we are having B as it is in this case, but A is replacing this part. As a result of replacing this part, what we can see, this the promoter will be as it is here. So the promoter is situated here, so no problem about that. This is the promoter, and right beside that A will sit. So here comes the A. So as A is coming here, Now A will be transcribed pretty easily. After the transcription of A, what we'll be getting? We'll be getting the products of A. So now we'll be getting the product of A. Now what we get? We are switching from the protein product C to protein product A. Now protein product C was previously identified by our immune system, and they are making any what you can say measures against the protein C. But now switching to the protein A will escape the immunity, because it will take immunity to understand protein A and make what you can say fightful response against protein A, right? So that is the important mediation. Now again, if immune system make any kind of what you can say battle uh, strategy against protein A, it will switch protein A to protein B and other proteins like that. So this switching, this kind of gene switching, so that is a very important concept is in Neisseria. That's why fighting Neisseria is very difficult using different antibiotics and different things, because this there is relation of the switching gene switching is always there. Gene switching, so due to this gene switching mechanism, it can produce different variations of the genes. It can activate certain number of genes at a particular time, then deactivate them after a particular time. So this combination of different gene on and off in certain times, just putting them after the promoter using different combinations, recombination processes, it can result in the variability in the infection. So it provides us variability, sorry, provides us variability of infection. It produces variability of infection. And also this variability of infection is good for Neisseria, but it is bad for us, because it will be extremely difficult to fight against this Neisseria infections in all these cases, right? Now in this kind of example, I've only shown you only one protein, like C or A, but usually there are multi proteins, right? Because the pili is made up with multiple proteins, so there are always a combinatory effect of multiple protein to produce this pili. Now as this pili is a surface molecule, this molecule is required for the adherence and also escaping immunity. How they escape immunity we already talked about. In this case, adherence is already achieved by this pili and the host cell surface receptor molecule interaction. Okay, so okay, and this is the first thing we have talked about, the pili, and now let us talk about other things. Let us talk about lipo-oligosaccharide or LOS. Now I've told you that this is not lipopolysaccharide, this is lipo-oligosaccharide, right? So the second important component, remember we have already talked about here, is the lipo-oligosaccharide or LOS. Where it is, yes, there is lipo-oligosaccharide or LOS. Now let us talk about LOS or lipo-oligosaccharide, right? Now this lipooligosaccharide is it's a kind of different from the lipopolysaccharide, right? It's a kind of gonococcal. It's a unique feature for the gonococcus actually. Okay, and they are having shorter and more highly branched non-repeat sequences. We usually know in case of the LPS or lipopolysaccharide layer, there are three major components: antigen, O, and other components. Now in the antigen O part for the other lipopolysaccharide layer, it was less branched and it is made up with a polysaccharide chain, which is a long chain. But in this case we are going to find that O antigen layer, so let me write that antigen O antigen region is consisting of this O antigen region is consisting of what we can say small but highly branched small but highly branched chain. Okay, that's the variation of lipooligosaccharide from lipopolysaccharides. Okay, and this lipooligosaccharide layer is a kind of endotoxin. Remember, we know that's a kind of endotoxin, and as it is an endotoxin, so let me write, sorry, it's endotoxin. Now as it is endotoxin, it is heat sensitive, not heat, sorry, it's a heat resistant, right? So it's a heat resistant. So again, heat resistance is making us difficult to go against these endotoxins, right? So this is another kind of thing, but our normal immune system can go against this lipooligosaccharide, and our normal antibody IgM is designed to go against this endotoxin, but still if it is making this kind of switching effect that we have just discussed using pili, it will be difficult for this antibiotic for this antibodies to go against them, right? So this is the second thing. The third important thing for the infection, the third important thing for the infection or pathogenicity is outer membrane protein. Outer membrane protein. Now the outer membrane protein is also called OMP or outer membrane protein. Anyways, now this outer membrane protein, there are several types. In this case, there is a type 1, there is type 2, and there is type 3. So all of these three different types. So OMP1 or outer membrane protein 1 functions as a porine complex. So it can function. So let me write OMP1 functions as a porine complex. So let us take this. It functions as a porine complex. Okay, it acts as a porine complex, and obviously the porine complex will help this bacteria to invade through the tissues, right? To help this bacteria to invade host tissue, right? It helps them to invade the host tissue. Okay, and and obviously there are also other kind of OMPs, which is OMP3, OMP2, and all these things. As you can write OMP3, it is an antigenically diverse in the form of the OMP1, obviously. Okay, and also OMP2 referred to as what you can say as a kind of anyways it's it because the presence of this OMP2 makes them less translucent. The colony makes them less translucent. So we can guess the presence of OMP1, 2, and 3 in in the cultures by looking at the culture. If it is a much more less translucent, it is morely having OMP2 and all these things. Okay, and also OMP2 has the ability to extensively undergo antigenic variation. It also contributes to the significantly to the ability to the organism to invade the immune system, right? So let me write it here. So not OMP3, let us talk about OMP2. OMP2 is important fact because OMP2 is another important thing after this gene switching activity that we have just discussed. And this OMP2 can also go through the antigenic variation antigenic variation they can go through this antigenic variation. As a result of that, they help us to invade the host immunity or immune system, right? So in a whole, we have talked about all these things. Remember, we have talked about that adhesion will be brought about by pili, and also the escape or the immunity escape also brought about by pili, and also the immune escape is provided by OMP. And OMP1 is acting like a porine, so it will help this pathogen to enter, right? So if I talk about the cell, let's say this is the host cell, and onto the surface. So here comes the listeria. So here comes a listeria that will bring here. Now as a result of this listerial infection, this listeria will start to infect it, and with the help of this outer membrane protein which is present on the membrane surface of the listeria, sorry, not listeria, it's a Neisseria. So onto the surface of Neisseria, and they will come and attach to the cell surface of the host cell. So let's say here it will be attached. After this attachment, the OMP1 proteins will start to make pore like channels. Now through these channels they can enter. Through the channel they can easily enter, or else we can write that they will make this protein channel, and through this channel this bacteria will migrate or move pretty easily inside. So what we can get is this inside, right? So and this one is called the porine complex, and this porine complex is brought about using outer membrane protein or OMP1. Okay, and it also helps them to evade the host immunity or host immune system. And OMP2 is also another antigenic variant because OMP2 can vary along or throughout the time to generate different diverse nature of different types of antigens. As a result of that, it can escape immunity in many times, right? So both this OMP 1 and 2 is helping them to establish the infection. So these are the major things that give rise to the pathogenicity to uh, our gonococcus, and I hope that that's helped you. Okay, thank you.